This is a lesson on Buddy Emmons' solo on Gentle on My Mind by John Hartford. He takes an amazing break on pedal steel, and I was just so moved by it that I wanted to transcribe it and put it up here for y'all to be inspired by as well, but also for y'all to learn from, because it's a really complex solo, but he uses a lot of motivic improvisation in it, and technically in melodic style it's really difficult because there's a lot of strange fingerings that he uses, or I know he's using a much different configuration because he's playing pedal steel, but on the banjo, when I'm playing this stuff, I had to be creative with my right hand fingerings to get all the notes, and I tried to get the articulations like Buddy was playing, but the pedal steel being a very different instrument than the banjo, it's kind of hard to get all those like kind of slides and those little nuances that he was putting in there. So I played it the best of my ability. So let's break it down piece by piece. It starts out with that run, and you can hear him creeping in. They're sliding up the mix behind the piano solo. It's a really cool effect. But he's doing this lick, which starts out right off the bat as kind of an interesting lick, which you have your your D chord here. Or really you have your D chord here, but you're putting on this E note on the 4th string 2nd fret, and then you're doing a single string figure, so thumb and then index to get that 4th fret note, that F sharp, and then you're bringing your thumb down to the A. So that's the roll pattern. It's a 4-note roll pattern. Phrase in itself is tricky as well. And it's actually kind of a typical melodic phrase right there, but the way that he does it on steel sounds so cool. And it's just so rhythmic, That's just a great phrase right there. So he's hammering on to that B, and then he's hitting the D string, or I'm hitting the D string, whatever he's doing on steel, I don't really know. But and then this is where the next phrase begins. He slides into that C sharp, and then you hit the D note, and this is where things get a little weird. And typically I would not hear going to a 7th chord during this break, but he does an awesome job sticking this D 7th chord in there. So he's pulling off from that C sharp to that B, and then playing. That's the next phrase. And all of this right-hand stuff and left-hand stuff, this kind of melodic phrasing, I sometimes figure this stuff out single string first, and then I put it on the banjo in melodic style. So, it could be like, I would do that single string and then be like, how do I put this melodic style because I want these notes to ring? And I should also note, I'm trying to get better at melodic style improvisation, and transcribing a solo of this caliber and trying to put it on my instrument in melodic style kind of lets me see things a bit differently than I'm used to, which is really cool. So you've got that. And then after that he goes, and I think it was this lick that hooked me on this solo. It was just so cool and rhythmic that I wanted to take a stab at learning it and kind of putting all the pieces together around this lick. So from the phrase before, So that is playing around with the major seventh arpeggio. So he starts out, that's just the D scales, starting on C sharp, D, C sharp, B, and then A, and then I go into this shape right here, which is the F sharp on the third string. It's a third string 11th fret, and then the C sharp on the first string 11th fret. And then the only way I could figure out doing this was like that, because I want to get this D string to ring. You know, you could go or something like that, but I want to do this in melodic style. I want these strings to ring. So that whole phrase is this was the trickiest part for me to get. After this, so that lick, you're hitting that D, and then you're playing another note on the bottom string. So I'm playing that D with my middle finger, and I'm hitting this B on the 9th fret, first string, with my index finger. It's like it's a single string thing, but I'm not alternating with thumb index. So this is another thing that I want to get better at. So I'm throwing that in there. And then you hit the E note on the 9th fret with your thumb. And this is a cool like chromatic lick. So this lick right here. It's a pentatonic run for the most part, but you've got this chromatic lick. I've kind of separated into two sections in my head, so and then it starts. Right here, I go. So it's thumb, index, thumb, middle. Then a single string thing. This is actually a bebop lick, and I've arranged it in like a melodic style thing. So super cool lick. If you check out my right hand, thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, middle. And that's just what came out. I don't really have an explanation for that, but that's just what came out instead of doing all single string. And then same kind of deal. It's not single string, not melodic. It's kind of a mixture of both. And this next lick took me a really long time to figure out. I just couldn't figure out the phrasing. And I also wanted to kind of put in a bend in there if I could, but I really just couldn't figure it out and got impatient. I was like, I've got the notes. That's good enough. But honestly, if I had my ideal solo or my ideal transcription of this, it would have some sort of slide here. So this B flat, you know, I'm doing this melodically, so it's, but it should be like, that sounds more pedal steelish to me, or that sounds like more like what Buddy Emmons is doing there, but couldn't really get it. And also it helps me figure out the fingering for the next lick. So the counting on this is weird too. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. From that first lick, that's fairly straightforward. So you've got this, basically, you can look at it as a C7th, but it's just a, I guess, E minor 7th flat 5, or it doesn't really matter what the chord is. The notes are out of this E minor position, but you're picking up your ring finger and you're barring your index finger, so you have that B flat in there. And then you play an inside roll there. So that's thumb, index, middle, thumb. And the way that I arranged this was I'm going to jump up. I'm kind of like alternating between that 5th string and the 3rd string. So I can get up to this position. That's my goal. That's like kind of my end point, my goal position. This is all this stuff is kind of weird too. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Boom. Right hand, single string. And then I'm doing an inside roll backwards. So middle, index to get that 5th string so I can transition back to this position. Which on the tab you can see where I am. In this position I'm doing kind of a weird roll. It starts with my index finger because you're playing your thumb right before this position happens. You're going from that. So I've got my index finger here to start out. My thumb is up here on the 13th fret. And shift my index finger down to get that note. And after this, I do another shift. So I basically substitute my index finger right there on that 12th fret for my pinky and my ring finger right here. That stuff is all kind of standard D melodic stuff. So let's go back to this one phrase. When I was transcribing this, I separated my phrasing up, and I had to like jump around a little bit to get stuff finished while other stuff was kind of like settling in my mind or whatever. The transcription process can be funny sometimes. So I've got this phrase. That whole long thing is split that up into different sections. So that's one of them. And then that's another one. That's another one, or even smaller than that. And then down the scale. And instead of going, Buddy goes. So this is super cool vocabulary for melodic style banjo. And it's all pedal steel vocabulary apparently. So after this melodic rundown, so he does some more bluesier stuff there. I tried to figure out a way to do this in a couple different places. You can do it here, but I found this to be the best place for me so I can let that D ring. And then a blues lick. And this really cool kind of bebop-ish lick. That was another one of the licks that kind of made the solo for me. That lick. There's just so much great stuff in this solo. If you want the tab for this, you can get it by signing up for my mailing list. Thanks so much for watching. If you have a question, just leave it in the comment section below, and I'll see you soon for a new video.